Are you absolutely sick and tired of craving junk food and finding it in your vehicle, in your office desk, and your pantry, regardless of your efforts to remove it? You are certainly not alone. Today I'm going to give you 7 tips on how to go about starting an SOS-free diet. That entails removing the salt, sugar, and the oil. So if you're new here, I'm Carly. I'm a plant-based nutritionist, and I particularly enjoy helping people with food addiction because I worked as a behavior modification specialist for a number of years, and I find that people can gain all the information in the world on how to deal with this problem, but for some reason they consistently have trouble initiating it in their daily lives. So I'm hoping these tips will help you stay on track. So the first thing I want to talk about is cleaning up your environment. You will not succeed if you do not do this one thing. A clean environment is the #1 predictor of success when it comes to individuals who are trying to remove salt, oil, and sugar from their diet or otherwise processed foods. So this might be particularly challenging if you live with somebody or several people or your entire family who does not share your common belief that these foods are detrimental and in fact need to be removed. So what I suggest is sitting down with them, having a conversation, perhaps even providing some educational materials, some popular documentaries that have been out recently, and I'll leave those down in the description, by the way. And just meet them where they're at and explain, look, if you're not going to follow on this journey with me and support me through this, can you at least keep your food in a separate area of the home or on a separate shelf of the pantry that you can't get to as easily? Or sometimes people even ask their loved ones to lock up their food because yes, it does get to that point. It does get that extreme. Some people are consistently taking injections for their diabetes or statins to lower their cholesterol and these beta blockers and blood pressure lowering medications. These are serious, and you will not be able to get off such medications if you continue living in an environment that is full of these foods. So the second thing you want to do after you remove the harmful foods from your environment is incorporate more whole foods, particularly fruits and vegetables. The more you're going to incorporate these into your diet, the less room you're going to have for the junk, the SOS containing foods. So one easy way to do this, I found with my clients, is to incorporate smoothies into their day. If you don't have a taste, and you probably don't have a taste for these healthy foods at the moment, if you're struggling to get rid of these more addictive foods, because your taste buds are more adjusted to those highly palatable foods as you would be to having these normal foods in your diet. But 30 to 90 days is all it takes to completely get back on track with that. So as long as you keep these foods 100% out of your diet, and you have to be meticulous about this, you can't have some organic tomato sauce and not look at the back and notice that there's 210 milligrams of sea salt. And you can't buy canned beans and not look at the back and notice that, oh, there's actually sodium in this as well. And sugar. Why would you put salt and sugar in peas? My point is, it's ubiquitous in our food supply, and you have to be very careful because the more you are diligent, the more you can remove these 100% from your food supply, the quicker you are going to adapt to a natural way of eating. And the quicker you will see those results, and the quicker you will notice your cravings dissipating. So incorporate more of those whole foods. Now, the third thing you want to do is notice the changes that are happening in your body, your cognition, your mood, your energy level, your sleep patterns. All these things will start to improve, and the more that you take notice of them, the more motivation you'll have to continue down this path. Digestion is another big one for people. They will start having less and less bowel problems and bloating, and there may be some adjustment period when it comes to the beans because you have to develop those healthy gut bugs in order to break them down and digest them properly. but as long as you incorporate them in small increments gradually, you won't have an issue with digesting beans. So the fourth thing I suggest to my clients is to go get your labs done. Go get a metabolic panel taken. So you will get a feel for your triglyceride levels, your cholesterol, your HDL, your LDL. You will have a baseline of where you're at. So after you incorporate these healthier foods and remove the SOS containing foods and go back and get your labs done again, you will see your weights dropped. You will see your cholesterol's normalized, your glucose levels. Everything in your body will start to heal itself and stabilize. And this is incredibly motivating. That's what we're looking for. Number 5 is very basic when it comes to any behavioral change, is that you need to know why you're doing this. You need to know why this is important, how you want it to impact your life, and what's going to sustain you down this path in the case of adversity. When somebody starts offering you some SOS containing foods, when you have to go out dining at a restaurant, what's going to keep you on track ordering those healthy foods and politely declining those sugar cookies that your best friend made you for your birthday? It's an ongoing process. So you're gonna have to keep reminding yourself why you're doing this, why this is important. And this can be a number of things. This can be anywhere from health reasons. You're trying to lose weight, you're trying to maintain your health and vigor, you're trying to reduce your blood pressure medication. Everybody has a different reason, and you could have many. Mine was the fact that I got pregnant with my baby girl and I wanted a pristine diet and to give her the most advantageous environment to thrive in while she was in my womb. And I also struggled with my weight for the majority of my life, and I also suffered from some severe autoimmune problems. So by removing these foods, I have literally eliminated every single one of those issues. But don't take my word for it. The next thing I want to talk about is staying informed and educated about this topic, because the more you surround yourself with the evidence and the raw data of what you're truly doing for yourself, the more likely you will continue this path. So I recommend things like Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss. He's an award-winning investigative journalist. This goes through the history of how these substances got into our food supply and how the food companies are all business partners with the biggest food lobbyists, and like the NIH and the CDC and the FDA and all these government agencies that are not supposed to have any of these external conflicts of interest are completely making money off of the pharmaceutical companies and the vaccine companies and big agriculture businesses. It all makes sense. Like the big picture, when it all comes together, you're like, holy crap. This is why I've been led to believe milk is good for my bones and meat is necessary for iron, and I can only get my protein from animal sources, and why you can use your food stamps card to go buy a bunch of candy and soda, and why the majority of our crops are going to animals as opposed to humans. So another book I consistently recommend is The Pleasure Trap by Dr. Doug Lisle and Dr. Alan Goldhammer. This puts an incredible perspective on the neurological and the psychological underpinnings of this problem, of why we're so addicted to salt, oil, and sugar, basically from an evolutionary standpoint. So this book explains exactly why we are hardwired to crave and seek out these foods. But there's also some great documentaries, like I mentioned earlier, like What the Health and Forks Over Knives and The Game Changers. These are all very valuable tools to utilize while you're going through this process. Also be sure to check out my other videos on SOS-free substitutions, so you can find things like sweeteners and salt substitutions, oil substitutions when it comes to cooking, baking, sauteing. So the last thing I want to talk about is finding some favorite SOS-free cooks and cookbooks. Now, this can be anywhere from Chef AJ to Ramsey's Bravo, Dr. Furman, Dr. Greger's got his How Not to Die, How Not to Diet, Julianne Heaver, Kathy Fisher. Just Google SOS-free cooks or SOS-free chefs and books, and you will find an array of options and all different types of cuisines, all different types of backgrounds. You're sure to find something that can accommodate you and your family. And always, for more information and inspiration on SOS-free living and recipes, make sure you subscribe. I know this is a lot to take in, and I know this is quite the journey. It may seem a little overwhelming at first, but I do have a trick that will expedite the process when it comes to adapting your taste preferences for these natural types of foods as opposed to those hyper-stimulating SOS containing foods, and that is to fast. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a medically monitored fast, although I definitely, as a disclaimer, you should always talk to your doctor if you're considering doing something such as a water fast when it comes to diabetics and anybody who's taking medications, really. But studies have shown that fasting actually speeds up your body's ability to rid itself of those toxic chemicals and develop a new sensitization to natural whole foods, and you can enjoy them that much faster. Again, it doesn't have to be an extended duration. It could be just a day, maybe 3 days here and there. I fast regularly for about 12 to 16 hours a day. That's highly recommended for people who are interested in the health benefits that come along with fasting, like improved glucose metabolism and improved sleep and digestion and mood. But most importantly, it speeds up your body's ability to not only detoxify, but to heal. So that's incredibly important in my situation for my autoimmune conditions. So if you're interested in water fasting, I'll link more information below. Specifically, Dr. Goldhammer at the True North Health Center is one of the world-renowned experts in this topic. So I would definitely go check out his website if you're interested in learning more about that. I really hope this video was helpful. I enjoy providing people with the information and tools necessary to make these drastic lifestyle changes in order to reach your health goals. So wherever you're at, I hope somehow you can utilize this information to better your situation. So I'll see you next time.